Are you looking at buying a second-hand Kirby? Then this is the video for you. And don't forget, everything used in the video today, there are links in the description below for the best place to get those Kirby products. Make sure you check those out at the end of this video. Hi Kirby fans, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be looking at buying a second-hand Kirby. Now, there's a few things you need to know and a few things you need to look out for. Since starting this channel, a lot of people have discovered the benefits of owning a Kirby vacuum, and a lot of people are buying second-hand Kirbys from Marketplace, eBay. Now, there's a few things you need to know and a few things that you need to check out, because this could cost you an absolute fortune. When you think you may be getting a bargain, you may not be. Now, I've refurbed a few Kirbys over the past few years, and trust me, I've had a few trashes and I've had a few treasures. So we're going to jump in. I'll show you a couple of problems that you might have with the Kirbys that you may not realise when you first buy it. Whether you're looking at the Avalir or you're looking at earlier model, also you need to check out the tools as well that you will require with that Kirby to get the full benefit out of it. And just a few things to check if you're buying a generation Kirby in 2023. So let's dive straight into it. First up, we'll start with the Avalir or the Centria style Kirby. Now, the first thing you need to check with your Centria or with your Avalir is that the LED bulb is working. If that's not working, that is going to cost you a little bit of money, because you can't just replace the bulb in them. What you've got is a PCB. What tends to happen is one of the resistors goes on this board and you just have to replace it. I have got a video and I'll put an old card above link into that if you need to replace this part. But there are two versions of it, so depending what Centria you've got. If you've got a Centria 1 early, then it will be a different type board compared to this one and the fitment on it. Now, when we go across to the Generation series, it's just a normal 12-volt bulb that goes in there, so it's pretty easy to change. The thing you have to check with your Kirby is the belt lifter. Now, quite a few of these, some of these may be broken off. I've had one that I picked up that was broken. They are easy to replace, and again, I have got a video on how to do that. So this may be another issue that you may have with a Kirby off Marketplace or eBay. Now, to remove these, it's just that sticker peels off and there's a screw behind there. If you want to reuse that sticker, just get a hairdryer, heat it up, peel it off, and then you can replace that with a new one. But the 9 times out of 10, these do come with replacement stickers. Looking at the Avalir, it's a bit easy to change. It's just a screw straight in the middle and pretty simple to change. There's no worry about stickers or anything like that. Now, the next things you want to check is the bag. Has it got an original Kirby bag in there? And has it leaked? Because what a lot of people tend to do to use non-Kirby bags, and what happens is the outer bag becomes a filter. Make sure when you buy it that they are using original Kirby bags. If not, double check the hose. So just check around the base here that there's no leakage of anything. If you've got an earlier Kirby, obviously these plastic ones aren't too bad, but the previous ones up until the G6, I have changed mine, were a different type of material, and they tend to get holes in. So if someone sucks a pin up or something, you get holes in the tube and they tend to split down here. So just be aware of that if you're buying an earlier Kirby. Now, the next part is mainly visual. Now, there's no damage on this one, but what tends to happen is people rub them against the wall, and what you'll get is you'll get holes or just rubber missing, and that does actually push through to the bag. There are 2 thicknesses of this, but you've got to make sure that it hasn't gone all the way through. 9 times out of 10, if there's damage here and it's gone all the way through, you just want to end up replacing the whole bag. So it could cost you a whole bag if you've got damage here. Now, next up, you just want to check the tech drive. So make sure it's in neutral, and just make sure when you push that back and forth, there is no clicking. If there's clicking, then this either needs replacing or repairing, and I have got a video on how to do that. What your next issue you might have is with the leads. So the leads on the early Kirbys tend to get damaged here, where they're pushed in and out. You tend to get a break down the bottom here, and the main one is here. So just be aware of that, because if you have got damage there and it is intermittent, then you might have to buy a new lead. Other things to check are make sure that the cable hook is intact, especially the one down the bottom, as a lot of these have been broken off. If that's the case, then you're gonna have to have a new replacement back. Now, as we move over to the Avalir lead, I'm just gonna pull this off so you can see. Now, this is a pretty big one with the Centrias and the Avalirs. A lot of them do get damage here. So what tends to happen is that tends to split, which I'll show you in a second. And what will happen is this will arc, you'll have a bang, and the Kirby will stop working. So double check that lead, make sure there's no splits in it, no splits down here, but definitely no split in here. Right, so what we've got is a lead here I replaced, and you can actually see where it went bang basically, and it just arced. So double check that wire is not split there, and especially split here, because over time it will arc and it will suddenly go bang, and there's a risk of electrocution, so you just got to be careful with that. When this blew, it did trip the electric board, so it wasn't too bad, but just be aware of that. If you've got kids that are going to be using it, make sure that there is no splits in this lead at all. Now, the next issue you may have could be the total control skipping, so just double check that it doesn't skip. Now, if it works like that, that's absolutely perfect. If it suddenly jumps down to the floor, then you might need to replace this part here and the spring. Now, the next big thing you might find that's worn on the Kirby is the brush roll. From the G5 onwards onto the Avalir, the brush roll was changed and the belt light was moved to this position. So on the earlier version it's on that side, and on the newer versions it's on the right hand side. So just make sure you've got the correct brush roll in there. So look at the brush roll, you can see we've got the bleak brush roll in here. These are all new brush rolls in all my machines. Just check what number you're on here. So these are numbered 1, 2 or 3. So make sure your brush roll isn't covered in dog hair, all wrapped around there. If you're buying an older Kirby, you've got more chance of that the brush roll hasn't been cleaned. And as well as that, make sure that you've got the magnet on the correct side. So you've got the correct brush roll. The magnet should be on this side where the indicator light is. The next thing you need to check is the fan. So make sure the fan has got no cracks in it. Otherwise you're going to be replacing the fan with a new fan. Pretty simple to do, pretty easy repair, but these are just some of the issues you may have buying a second-hand Kirby if it hasn't been fully refurbished. Also check the safety switches there. So both of those are working. You can check that out with the hose as well. So before you buy it, make sure it's fully working with the hose and fully working with the portable head unit. Double check the seal here isn't damaged. That's another thing that might need replacing, because you will get leakage if this has been damaged over time with people trying to fit the wrong attachment from an earlier Kirby. Again, these are pretty simple to replace, really easy fix. Now, looking at the axle of the Kirby, just double check that none of these move. So this should not be loose, okay? It's loose, obviously turning there, but that against the spindle should not be loose. A lot of these on the other Kirbys do come loose, so just make sure it's not loose off that spline, because otherwise you're going to have to buy a new Kirby axle. Now, looking at the Kirby boot, just make sure there's no damage in here, because people don't tend to put these on correctly and then they force them on and end up damaging this part here. We have got a little line where you line it up with your Kirby to drop it straight on and then just connect it into place. Now we've looked at the machines, it's not all doom and gloom. If you pay decent money for a Kirby, you should get a decent Kirby. Like I'm trying to demonstrate in this video, if you're going to pay $50 or $100 for a Kirby, you can't expect an immaculate machine. There's going to be something wrong with it, and it's going to cost you something over time. If it's been fully refurbished, then it should be totally safe, and all those issues should have been addressed. So it is a case of, if you're buying it on Marketplace or eBay, just buyer beware, and just make sure you can check out that Kirby before you pay that big money for it. Now, don't forget, if you're using the video today, there are links in the description below for the best place to get those Kirby products. Make sure you check those out at the end of this video. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, cheap isn't always best. There are some bargains out there, but there are some Kirbys that have been abused over time and people ask stupid money for them when they know they need repairing. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give a big thumbs up, as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And for those of you struggling with servicing your Kirby vacuum, check out this video next. And for those of you struggling to shampoo with your Kirby system, check out this video next. So thanks for watching, happy cleaning, and I'll catch you in the next one.